What makes a villain truly memorable is it their evil deeds, their incredible power, or something a bit more complex. Some villains are so well written, so charismatic, that we find ourselves rooting for them despite their wicked ways. From sympathetic backstories to charming personalities, these villains steal the show and sometimes our hearts. In this video, we'll dive into the top 5 movie villains you secretly rooted for, many of them which you might root for now publicly, but at some point, we always wanted them to win, exploring why they win us over even when we know we shouldn't be on their side. So just so you know, I'm working on a few other video ideas and I'm sure I'll be doing that soon and you'll be loving the content. So just before we all start, let's just hit the subscribe button and let's get straight into the list. Starting off the list is God of Mischief himself, Loki. Whether he's scheming to overthrow his brother, Thor, or leading an alien invasion to the Avengers, Loki somehow always wins us over with his charm and wit. While he's undeniably selfish, it's easy to understand his pain. Raised in the shadow of his heroic brother and struggling with his own identity as a frost giant, Loki's actions stem from a deep sense of abandonment. His clever manipulation and complex relationship with Thor make him more than just a power-hungry villain. Beneath the snarky one-liners and grandiose speeches is a character craving recognition and love. Add Tom Hiddleston's magnetic performance and you've got a villain you can't help but root for, even when he's trying to conquer the world. Next up is Eric Killmonger from Black Panther, one of the most layered and morally complex villains in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Killmonger's motivations stem from a tragic upbringing, abandoned and left to grow up in the harsh realities of systemic injustice, his desire to challenge the power structure of Wakanda, and by extension, the world, is rooted in wanting to help marginalized people rise up to oppression. You don't root for Killmonger because he's right, his methods are undeniably violent. But because his vision in many ways speaks to the real world struggles, his pain, loss, and desire for justice make him more than just a traditional villain. He represents what happens when good intentions turn extreme. You might not agree with this, but it's hard not to see this point, which is why we find ourselves sympathizing with him right until the end. Few villains are as tragic and compelling as Magneto. His backstory, surviving the Holocaust and watching his people suffer, is the root of his belief that mutants must rise up before they too face extermination. Magneto is driven by trauma and the need to protect his kind at any cost. And while his methods are often extreme, they stem from a deeply personal history of persecution. What makes Magneto truly compelling is his friendship with Charles Xavier, who believes in peaceful coexistence between humans and mutants. The ideological conflict between these two is what drives the X-Men series, and it's hard not to see what Magneto actually means. His fear, pain, and anger are palpable, and every action he takes is done with the intention of securing future for mutants. In many ways, Magneto represents a villain who could have been a hero but in different circumstances, which is why you find yourself secretly hoping he succeeds, at least in part 1. No list of villains would be complete without the Joker, and while his chaotic nature is pure evil, there's something captivating about the way he operates. Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Clown Prince of crime is iconic, bringing to life a villain who thrives on anarchy, pushing Batman to his moral limits. But why do we root for the Joker even when he causes so much destruction? It's because the Joker exposes the dark truth about society. He's not just a villain for the sake of being bad, he's a reflection of humanity's potential for chaos. He forces people to confront uncomfortable truths about themselves, tearing down the facade of civilization. His philosophy that everyone is just one bad day away from becoming like him makes us question our own morality. We root for him not because we want him to succeed, but because he reveals the hypocrisy of the system. And let's be honest, his devilish wit and theatricality make it hard to just look away. And at number 1, we have Thanos, the Mad Titan, who wiped out half of all life in the universe with a snap of his fingers. On paper, he's the ultimate villain in a genocidal maniac. But as we dive into the motivations, we realize that there's a twisted logic behind his actions. Thanos believes that by reducing half the population, he's saving the universe from overconsumption and inevitable collapse. His philosophy, while extreme, is rooted in a desire to prevent suffering. What makes Thanos compelling is that he genuinely believes that he's the hero of his own story. He's not driven by the power of greed, or he's motivated by a cold, calculated sense of duty. And while we obviously don't agree with his methods, we can deny the fact that he's incredibly persuasive. His conviction, paired with his emotional vulnerability, like when he sacrifices Gamora, adds depth to his character. Thanos is a villain who challenges our perception of morality, making him the ultimate villain we secretly root for. So there you have it, 5 villains who, despite their evil actions, manage to win us over with their compelling motivations and complex personalities. Whether it's through tragedy, charm, or a warped sense of justice, these villains make us question our own moral compass. Who did we miss? Let us know your favorite villains you secretly root for in the comments below. Thanks for watching Cinematic Cosmos Critique, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more epic content. Until next time, stay cinematic, stay cosmic, signing off.